Welcome to Security Heroes, a podcast by Athena Security. We share real-life stories to help connect you to real heroes in the security world. I am your host, Lisa Falzone. Warning, the following recording contains potentially disturbing content. Listener discretion advised. We do our best to get a lot of the biggest names in security on the podcast, but there's one company we've overlooked. So we're pleased to fix that today by bringing on our own Christopher Ciabarra. Chris is my co-founder and CTO here at Athena and was also my co-founder and CTO back at Revel Systems. He has decades of experience in security with an expertise in many areas, including cybersecurity, infrared devices, and AI. He sits on the Forbes Technology Council and holds numerous honors, ranging from ISC's Risk Management Award to being named an entrepreneur making a difference by the International Business Times. But of course, his greatest honor is getting to work with me here at Athena. Would you say I've got that right, Chris?
Perfect.
All right. So really excited to have you here. So back at Revel, you developed secure point of sale technology for retail and restaurants. Do you see your work at Athena as a natural evolution of that?
Absolutely. We even took some of the technology out of Revel and how we constructed the infrastructure and put it into here. Why? Because we have, billions of dollars of transactions from Revel. We had to keep everything safe. And we did the same thing here. We took that type of infrastructure and we blended it in here because we have PHI information, which is protected health information that you don't want to be getting into the hands of hackers. So we took that same type of infrastructure, implemented here, so we have total security.
Awesome. We started at Revel making secure point of sale tech. Now we're here making concealed weapons detection systems. Is there a common thread there for you that ties those together? You kind of already answered this, but
it's always innovating, right? We're always innovating technologies. That's what keeps us ahead of the game. And, any vertical that you're going to implement a product in, we're always there creating new stuff, helping our customers, giving them what they want.
Yeah, what's the most difficult thing about weapons detection for someone running a facility?
Sure, the most difficult thing, unfortunately, is the human. It's the weakest link about everything that we do, and that's where AI comes in, our software comes in. We're out there trying to build around the different best practices by Homeland Security, the different types of things that we see when we go on site, anything that we're missing because people get fatigued, they get tired. It's not their fault. It just happens. We're there building processes and controls around it to make their jobs easier so they don't miss stuff and they can catch more.
And what's the most difficult thing about weapons detection for you as someone designing the systems?
The most difficult thing about weapons detection, I would say, is finding all the missing parts that we've missed, right? I mean, if you go out, they've been using the same technologies for many years now, and, things aren't right because people are getting by. So we got to fix those holes, and we're fixing those holes with AI. For instance, we have these new fancy AR glasses. Now we'll never miss an alert. If we're distracted looking in another direction, we'll get the alert right in the glasses. We don't have to worry anymore. I would say the operators of the equipment don't have to worry anymore. So we're putting in a lot of new tech out there to help these individuals stay abreast and making sure they catch everything.
Yeah, so what was the genesis of the AR glasses idea? What problems did you notice in the field?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we're out on site a lot and we're watching operators run the equipment. And as soon as they turn their head to ask or answer a question they were asked, people are walking through the system. You can see behind me, those are green. Well, when they go red for half a second and then they go green again. So if they're distracted, even for a second, they turn their head and they turn their head back. Well, it went red when they weren't looking. They turn back, it's green. They're letting people through the system, even though it was red. They didn't hear it. It was too loud. And now people just got through the system. The whole point of the glasses, so they don't miss those incidents when they're distracted. They still get the alert in their glasses. And we actually allow the alerts to stay as long as they want. The poles only stay red for usually half a second. With the glasses, you can stay red in the glass for about 5 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever you want the alert to stay for.
Mm-hmm. I know you've always been big on making sure we meet all government standards right away with Athena WDS. Why is this so important for you?
Yeah, it's really important because you want to follow the standards that actually the equipment should be obliged to. So you're catching what you want to catch. If you have an international standard like we have in our weapons detection system, you're going to catch whatever's in that standard if it complies with it. And that's what's really important is you're following those types of standards.
Why do you think other weapon detection systems don't do this?
because they don't meet the standard. So it's a big problem because a lot of people will build a system and there's flaws with every technology. New technology is great because it's easier to use. It has fancy boxes around items, but some problems occur where if you're using new technologies, it might not always catch stuff. For instance, millimeter wave, it doesn't penetrate the skin. Okay. Old metal detectors can penetrate the skin. It can go through you. So your armpit, your inner thighs, you can catch things, right? With millimeter wave, it stops. So if you put something in your armpit, you're not catching it. And that's a problem for new technologies.
Awesome. You've been outspoken about saying that organizations make a big mistake when they keep cybersecurity and physical security in separate silos. Do you care to explain why?
Physical and cybersecurity, security is security. I truly think that they belong together because they're kind of merging. If you look at what's happening, I mean, almost every type of physical product now has a cyber side to it, right? Everything's connected to the network. So splitting those two types of positions apart, I think is a mistake. And I think everyone should be looking at merging those two together because you really need a mindset of security. You're not going to get that if you switch security from physical and cyber and they're apart.
So apparently, co-founding Athena to keep people safe from weapons wasn't enough for you. So a few years ago, you co-founded a nonprofit to help people all over the world. Care to talk about it?
Sure. So I started a nonprofit because, back then I had a lot of time. Now I don't have as much time. But I really wanted to help the world and do something. And, it's all about helping people help themselves, the nonprofit's theme. So we actually built a school over in Uganda for a bunch of kids. Now they can get educated and actually get a job. And, one kid gets a job can feed the entire community. So we're all about trying to help people help themselves with the nonprofit. We're out there every now and then trying to, pick up new types of ways to help people. And our newest one is, building AI lessons for people online, how to use, Gemini or how to use ChatGPT every day. A lot of people don't know how to use it, don't know what it is. So we're out there giving free lessons online to be able to encourage people to use it to help themselves.
So what are you so busy with right now? You said you don't have a lot of time anymore. What do
Uh,
you
yeah, I'm really busy with Athena, obviously. So there's a lot of stuff going on. We're innovating a lot. The biggest need in the industry, California just said, you know what, every entryway has to have a weapon system. Well, guess what? That's going to be very expensive for these hospitals that now by 2027 have to have every entryway. And that's a big deal. And we're trying to do at Athena is make a workforce multiplier. And that's what we do with our technology. So instead of having 3 people at a weapons detection system, now you may only need 1 or 2. Why? Let me explain. So we have an X-ray and we have a weapon system. Typically, you need 1 person at the weapon system and 1 person at an X-ray system because that's the way you're supposed to operate them. We take both technologies, combine them into 1 tablet, and now you can sit in a spot where you can see both systems. And the iPad does a lot of the work because the AI is built in to actually tell you what's going on the X-ray. So we're making technologies to actually help these operators be more efficient for the hospitals and schools, so you don't need as many operators. We even have a hologram situation where we can take and automate the entire process for low volume entryway. So employee entrance, you don't have a lot of people coming in. Why do you need an officer there? You can automate the entire thing. We have turnstiles. We can talk to them. 1 person walks in. Now we know who they are. They can be signed up with a badge. They put their stuff in the X-ray, and the hologram's telling them what to do the entire time. So that individual that was telling them what to do before is no longer needed because the hologram tells them what to do. Each piece of equipment is a sensor. We have a patent on that particular sensor-based platform, and each piece of equipment is a sensor, and that sensor can talk to the hologram and tell the individual what to do because now the hologram knows where they are and what they're supposed to do next.
Awesome. That's really cool. What's the most important thing someone needs to know when evaluating a security system?
Well, they need to know how it complies with government standards. That's number one, right? They need to understand the technology that they're using and understand the pluses, the minuses of that technology. Getting people in fast doesn't always mean a good thing for you, right? Speed versus security. And you need to understand that. I recently wrote a paper to make this very clear for people to understand because speed versus security means when you got speed, typically you're not going to have security. Or if you got security, you're not going to have speed. What does that mean? That means when you want to catch everything, like a knife and a gun, a small subcompact weapon, you need really good security, which means you're going to have a lot of alarms going off because that means you're going to be catching everything in your pockets. You have to divest. And the only way to get both is to have an X-ray, right? You divest all your equipment in X-ray and then you walk through it. And you can still have speed and security if you use both.
So what's the biggest, you kind of alluded to this, but what's the biggest mistake organizations make with their security?
Well, they see a newest technology and you're getting a lot of speed. So that's, the biggest mistake you can do is say, yeah, I want everyone in fast. But do you understand the consequence?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's the biggest problem I think in the industry right now is everyone loves the speed of these products, but they don't not understanding the consequence of that speed, which means you're missing knives, you're missing smaller guns, you're missing certain types of weapons out there. And you just got to be really careful in your decision. Understand your decision. That's the biggest thing.
So, last question. When you close your eyes, what do you see physical security looking like in 10 years?
In 10 years and 3 years, I see everything automated, and it needs to be automated because unfortunately, humans get fatigued and they make mistakes. So if you want real security, you want everything automated and you don't want the human in the loop.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I see everything going.
So with like the hologram or robots or what?
Everything. Holograms first. Robots are too scary for kids. So I don't really think robots are a good decision at this point in time. Maybe in 10 years, they'll be robots.
Yeah.
But I see a lot of new technologies coming out in the future. In the next 10 years, it'll be a lot better for different types of companies to use technology. You won't even see the system. That's going to be the beauty. In 10 years from now, you won't see the system that's detecting weapons. It's going to be on the ceiling. It's going to be on the wall. You're not even going to be knowing that you're walking through a checkpoint. You just won't know it. You're going to walk through that doorway and you're going to be scanned. The hologram's going to kick on. If you got something, if you don't got something, you just keep walking. You don't even know what happened. And that's going to be the beauty of the future. I already see it coming, and I've already looked at technologies doing this. They're just super expensive right now, but they'll come down in price, and you start seeing them in malls, schools, and hospitals.
All right, Owl up.
Owl up. See you later.
Security Heroes is brought to you by Athena Security. To find out more about Athena Security and how we help save lives through our weapon detection solution, visit www.athena-security.com. And then make sure to search for Security Heroes in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Make sure to click subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. On behalf of the team here at Athena, thanks for listening.